Moms for Liberty really worked miracles.
We have a crisis in America in public education. This is the future of our kids and our country.
You are joyful warriors.
And we are just getting started.
Which that's a fantastic story too that I could tell.
Welcome to the Fire of Liberty show. We are excited to be here with you this morning. It is Wednesday, November the 5th, and it is the day after Election Day. And I would say Virginia took a beating last night. I would say New Jersey took a beating last night, and New York City. What happened there was also not good for conservatives in America. And I know many of our members and people that are watching and listening and support Moms for Liberty and the Fire of Liberty show are frustrated and angry and hurt. And our people in Virginia were texting a lot last night, feeling devastated that their state elected an attorney general that has wished conservative kids dead. So this is America right now, today. But you know what? There is hope, and we are going to talk today about hope on the Fire of Liberty show. We're glad you're here to join us this morning. I'm Tina Deskovich. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Moms for Liberty, and today's guest is from North Carolina. We bring you every week frontline warriors in this culture war, moms and dads that have been forced out into this culture war to defend their children, to protect the future of America, and defend parental rights at all levels of government. And Maria is an amazing example of that. She's the chapter chair of
Guilford.
I always say Gill because there's an I in there.
Yes.
Guilford County,
Guilford County,
North Carolina. And we're going to talk a little bit about Maria and some of the things she's doing in North Carolina. Yeah. But first, welcome to the show, Maria.
Thank you so much. It's so grateful to be here, and this is an honor and a lot of fun. So I'm excited.
Yeah, there's nothing like the home office of Moms for Liberty. People come here and they're like, it's so humble. And sure is. I'm not going to disclose where we are, right? We don't tell anyone where we are, but we are in a humble location. We'll just say that.
Well, I like it. It's nice.
Well, we are glad that you are here with us today. And so were you up watching the election results last night?
I did watch some of it last night. And I would say that I was very disappointed with the results in, as you mentioned, in Virginia and New York, and some results that are in my county of Guilford County. But also know that we have some powerful warriors and activists in this nation. So there's a lot of wins to also celebrate, even though there were some losses in some key areas.
Yes, let's talk about those wins. And so Moms for Liberty last night took home I think 17 school board race wins. Oh, wow. And so we're excited about that. And do you remember Shelley, who won a Founders Award at Summit from Iowa? She's a vice chair in Dallas County, Iowa, and she ran for her city council. And
that's excellent.
She won last night.
Congratulations,
so,
Shelley.
Moms for Liberty members winning all over the place, endorsed candidates winning. As usual, moms are the bright hope and future of our country. We are going to do this one school board race at a time.
Absolutely.
And so let's see. We're going to do a drawing this morning on the show, which we've never done this live before. But before we do that, let's just talk a little bit about Summit, because I just saw you a week ago.
Yes.
Has it been maybe 2 weeks?
I don't know.
I know
time goes by so fast.
Yeah, because you were at Summit.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit just about Summit in general. Did you enjoy Summit this year?
Oh, it was fantastic. This is my third Summit. I've been with Moms for Liberty about 2.5 years. So my first one was Philadelphia. And then I went last year to DC, and then this year here in Florida. And it was fantastic. I always learn something new, meet new people. The other chapter chairs, you see them on camera on our Zoom calls, you see them on Facebook, but to see them in person and to meet them in person and to be able to talk about the things that are going on in their area and compare it to what we have going on in the area. In some places you feel very blessed, and in other ways you're like, gosh, I wish I had what you have. So it's just a really great event, and I loved it.
Do you feel like you build relationships at Summit?
Oh, absolutely. That's what I feel like is the most important part, is building those relationships. And last night I spent an evening with Christine Bird, who I believe is the vice chair of the Brevard County.
Yes.
So we went out and we had a fantastic dinner together and got an opportunity to get to know each other more. So it was really wonderful. So that's what I get the most out of Summit. Obviously, there's incredible education with our panelists, with speakers from the different organizations that come. And then there's so much inspiration as well. So it's just a fantastic event, and I'm grateful that I was able to come.
That is, I think that's a good summary and a good takeaway. What was your favorite speaker, either main stage or breakout, your favorite thing other than building relationships and being with the other chairs from Summit this year?
I would have to say my favorite, because I'm starting to learn this process of AI and how to use it to our benefit, and not be afraid of what AI what it can do, is the segment that we had on, I think it was like the first day. It wasn't even officially open. The summit wasn't officially open, but I think it was the Heritage.
Leadership Institute.
The Leadership Institute. Thank you. That did the session on AI.
3 hours of training they did, and you found that useful?
Oh, extremely. There was just great, basic information on AI, and then the different, different AI sources that you can use, and how to benefit that. How you can, something that I normally do that takes me maybe 8 hours to accomplish can be done in a matter of, an hour or maybe even a few minutes, just depending on what that task is. So I found that to be really beneficial.
Yeah, and we know that AI in education is the future. It's what's coming and what's happening. So we think it's very important that parents are educated on how to use it to help their kids, to help themselves. I mean, just in general, you want to know how to use it, but the role it's going to take in educating the kids in America in the future is going to be very big. President Trump wants us to be the leaders in the world on it. And so we've got to get more engaged. And we're doing that at Moms for Liberty at M4L Academy, m4lacademy.org. If you're interested, the theme this month is tech and AI. And so Missy over there, our education director, is really working hard to build tools and resources so parents will have those available to them. Yes. So Summit, we're going to do this drawing here. So apparently all of the sponsors, everybody could visit all the sponsor tables and enter to win a huge merch packet, Sweet Land of Liberty sweatshirt, mug, a blanket, a Moms for Liberty blanket. It's a whole bunch of things. And so I've been told that I have to do the drawing here on air live so that we know it's free. Holy cow. And it's very full. And we're going to let Maria choose. And she told me a little bit ago that you got to close your eyes because you could see some of these.
My name is on there.
She told me just a little bit ago that she actually entered. She's like, what if I draw my name? I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. Reach in and draw.
Okay. And by the way, we had some fantastic vendors. Do you want me to read the name? Or you?
Yeah. If you can pronounce
Scotty Biddix. She is in North Carolina. She is one of our newest chapter chairs.
Oh, you know who she is.
Yes, Scotty, congratulations. That's excellent. But our vendors are fantastic. I met so many great people and look forward to building relationships with those vendors. But they provided such incredible resources for us as parents, for us as activists, for us as Christians. So kudos to whoever brings in our vendors for National Summit. They're excellent.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and give a big shout out to Sarah Simon. She's the chapter chair and the state ambassador in Ohio. And, just like everything else at Moms for Liberty, 3 years ago, I'm like, hey, Sarah, you think you can help coordinate the vendors? Sure, I'll help out, right? Never done it before, but we'll figure it out. And so she, started a spreadsheet and started tracking them at that first summit, I think. And then, it's turned into, we've built out databases now, and she does all of the managing of them and making sure they have electricity, all of what it takes. And so it's so fun to see all of our people step into that role. But she proactively this year went out and helped seek out with two other chairs, Brooke and Amber, to help get more sponsors and vendors in. So I'm glad that you appreciate the quality of the vendors that come in. This year we had Sparkle. The sparkle lady with the sparkle jackets.
Oh, yes. Those jackets. Yes. They're gorgeous.
Yeah, people sure do love those.
Yeah, they were she was fun.
Yeah. Okay.
I've seen her at other events too in North Carolina.
So I want to talk a little bit about you and your activism now. You are such a no. Oh my gosh, we almost forgot to talk about this the whole reason I brought up Summit. Let's roll Owen, Amy, if you guys could roll the Abigail Adams Award winner at Summit video, please. It's just 1 minute, guys. We'll be right back after you watch this.
presenting the Abigail Adams Award for holding leaders accountable.
Maria Adams of Guilford County, North Carolina is so deserving of the Abigail Adams Award.
From the time I first met you some years back as we were working on Take Back Our Schools together, I've been impressed by your faith, your work ethic, and your dedication to making the world a better place.
I started my chapter a few months before Maria had started hers in Guilford County, and she asked me to come to her first meeting as chair of Guilford County, and I was blown away. That woman makes it happen, and she hasn't stopped since.
She has been fighting in her county against the age-inappropriate books. She has been raising awareness and having wonderful events for Constitution Day. She's been to our legislative days and she participates in that, and she's even meeting with our state representatives.
Maria, I admire you for all you do with your faith as your guiding principle. Thank you, my friend.
Welcome back to the Fire of Liberty show. That was the winning video for my guest today, Maria Adams. She won the Abigail Adams Award at Summit this year, and I want to talk to you a little bit about that.
Sure.
So you knew you were nominated because we announced the finalists, obviously. Right. Were you like, oh yeah, I got this in the bag, I'm showing up at Summit?
No, I told everybody in North Carolina, I was like, I don't expect to win this at all. There are two other amazing women who are also finalists, and I am honored to have even been in that small group of finalists. So I did not expect it at all. And I think, I don't know if you recognize in my reaction to that on stage that I was not expecting to win. No.
Were you crying? I don't remember.
I was, but I wasn't crying because I won the award. Winning the award is fantastic, but it's really for my chapter. And I'm going to go back to that for a second. But I was crying because of the three ladies and their testimonies. And I couldn't actually hear what they were saying because, everybody's clapping and all of that. So you can't actually hear the video, but just seeing their faces, my friend Susan Tysinger from Guilford County, and then Kelly Harris and Amy Kappelman, who are also chapter leaders. And Kelly was on the show couple back. But those ladies are so inspirational. They're such we're good friends, and they inspire me so much. And just seeing their faces of them giving a testimony, that's what brought me to tears. It was not the award itself, but I'm grateful for the award. And an interesting tidbit, Abigail Adams is married to John Adams, and my husband's name is also John Adams.
You were destined
I guess
for this
I was.
award. Yeah, we give out 7 awards each year, and 6 are named after founding mothers. And so the Abigail Adams Award. It's interesting to watch. Then you all win the award, your names get announced. And for those that weren't at Summit, they start walking up after their name is announced. And this video always plays that we put together that they haven't seen, obviously. And that is what gets everybody crying every time. My favorite one this year, no offense, was Sarah Garriott from Washington. I think it was all her children in the video. And she was standing there watching her video. And then every time another kid popped up, like her face was like ugly, started ugly crying, trying to cover her face. And it just made
I was
me
tearing up for them too.
Yeah.
I can't even watch those awards because look at you, you're tearing up. You're gonna make me tear up. Yeah, it's really it's not about the award. It's not about winning the award. It's really about. Well, I'm going to go back and say this with my chapter. I accepted the award on behalf of my chapter. I have an incredible board. We have 3 other members on our board. And then all the members that are very active in our chapter are there, they're working, they're supportive, they come to the meetings, they share information, they're working at elections. There's just such amazing support in our Guilford County chapter that the award is really for them. It's not for me. So
why do you think that is? Because there are chapters that struggle with members or other leaders to stand with them. I mean, we've got chapter chairs that are standing alone in some places. They started with 20 members and people, get complacent or whatever. Things happen in personal lives and they've got to go take care of family. So we've got some chapter chairs that are, hanging on. So what are you doing differently to help keep strong people around you that aren't burning out and leaving?
Well, first of all, I don't compare myself to anybody else because everybody's chapter is unique and different. As you said, there's, some amazing leaders that maybe don't have a thriving chapter, but it's not because of their leadership. So I don't want to compare myself to anyone. I just wanna
No,
say
I
what we're
wasn't
doing.
saying
Yeah.
let's elevate you above all of
Right.
them. I'm just saying you apparently have tapped into something that I'm sure they would like, get a tip. You got a tip or two.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I think the most important thing is to build relationships. And before I started the Moms for Liberty chapter in Guilford County, and of course, like all other chapters, we start with 10 founding members. But before I did that, I was very involved in our Guilford County Republican Party, and I've been volunteering and helping. And I'm in the Guilford County Republican Party, the Greater Greensboro Republican Women's Club, the Northwest Republican Women's Club. I'm part of another little group called Guilford Patriots, and then I attend something called the Eastern Conservative Club. So we have all these different clubs in Guilford County, and I just go to all of their events, and I build relationships with the people that are in all of these different, clubs. And I don't build relationships to get something out of it. That's just who I am. That's just how I've always been, is to understand who are you and how can I help you and how can we help each other. And even when we disagree, because we're not, that's the reason we have so many clubs, is because we don't always agree on exactly how things should be handled or how things should move forward in policy or legislation. So
I think I think these are important tips, because we do have some chapters that are, I guess, more isolationists. And I don't mean that in a terrible way,
Right.
but maybe their GOP is corrupt or defunct or whatever the issues are, or other organizations, they're in a different area. There's just different vibes in different communities, and so they work more in a silo. And I would say Moms for Liberty as a whole national organization, the first year or two, we really worked in a silo.
Yes.
To protect ourselves. We were so young and trying to grow, and you just don't, it's hard enough to internally grow and strengthen something than to be trying to figure out and carry the baggage of everyone else. But I would say this year specifically, we've really been working on that building relationships value of Moms for Liberty, hiring a coalitions manager, and intentionally strengthening and building these relationships with our vendors and our sponsors, and doing some different things too. So I'm excited about it. I hope that's setting a good example for the chapter leadership too. And apparently you instinctively already know how to do that. But I love that you said you're part of all these other organizations. And so I would encourage chapter leaders everywhere that are watching. You don't have to be in your GOP or your GOP Women's Club. Pick anything. It could be junior achievement or junior league, or there's so many clubs and organizations. But I think that building relationships is important. So thank you for being that example.
Oh yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so you're a warrior, you win the Abigail Adams Award. And so tell us a little bit more about what makes Maria, like what made Maria into this activist warrior? Is it your childhood? Is it something in your adult life? Like where do you think that comes from?
Well, I think a little bit of both. Just to give you a little background about myself, I was born in Vietnam, which is Ho Chi Minh City now.
Wow.
And my parents met in Saigon. My mom is Vietnamese and my father's American, and he also has, and his bloodline is Native American. So I'm a wonderful mix of a variety of ethnicities. But my parents met in Vietnam, and they got married, and I was conceived there and born in Vietnam. And then when my father left in 1970, obviously my mom and I came with my dad back to the United States. And so I was 6 months old, and then my younger brother came along. But my mom is a warrior. Unfortunately, my father suffered from PTSD from the war. And because of that, he passed away from a self-inflicted gun wound from the PTSD. But my mom is a warrior. That's probably where I get the warrior spirit from. She understood how important, first of all, what a blessing it was to be in America, and what a privilege. And so she embraced that, and she raised my younger brother and I as a widowed single mom. She didn't remarry because she didn't want another man to raise her children.
How long was she here? Like, how old were you? How long was she here when your father passed?
I was 3 years old. So she was only in the States for 3 years. And at the time, we didn't have any other family. All of my mother's siblings and parents were still in Vietnam.
Why do you think she just didn't pack you guys up and go back?
Well, there's no opportunity. There's no opportunity there for a woman that's not educated. The highest education she got was, I think, the 5th grade. And so, but she's a very smart, intelligent woman and a hard worker. I mean, her work ethic is just unbelievable. So my mom raised my brother and I, and she instilled in us the value, really American values, which is work hard, study hard, do your best, stick to, my mother's Catholic, stick to your Christian principles, let that be what you're grounded in, and you will succeed. And so my mom became a U.S. citizen. She went to school for cosmetology. She opened up her own beauty salon.
Wow.
She is a wonderful seamstress. She's very talented. So she opened up an alteration shop. So she was a business owner, and she had that entrepreneurial spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that when we were really young, and when my father first passed away, or at least this was probably around when I was 5 or 6, because I literally remember food stamps. The literal green food stamps. So she had to pay for groceries one time with food stamps, but she did not stay on government assistance very long at all. And I think that must have been a lull where she was in between jobs, because she knew that you cannot trust the government. You cannot depend on the government. Coming from a communist country, and we say that my family escaped communism twice because they were from North Vietnam and they moved to South Vietnam. They escaped communism to get to South Vietnam. And then she was able to leave. And throughout that process, my mom also helped to sponsor and assist every one of her siblings. She has 5 siblings, and all of their children and their families, and her mother, my grandmother, to come to the United States legally. And we did that through the immigration process and through the Catholic Church that helped to sponsor. And that's what has inspired me, is to see how she takes care of people. She takes care of her family. She takes care of the community. And she's just an amazing woman.
Yeah. So I think it's very clear where you get your warrior spirit from,
Mm-hmm.
your tenacity, your ability to overcome and endure and be an activist. Was your mom politically active in any way? No. So how did that translate to you to get involved? Like what are you so passionate about today that you feel you have to run a Moms for Liberty chapter? For years you've been doing this.
Yes.
What is it that's making you do this?
Well, as many parents, many moms and dads that are in our organization and really across the nation, COVID woke me up. 2020, the election in 2020, I voted. And I depended on my husband to help me figure out who I'm supposed to be voting for. I mean, obviously, you know who to vote for president and so on. But, your municipal elections, you don't know who these people are. So I was active in terms of just voting, making sure that I voted. But I was never involved in politics at all. As a matter of fact, if you told me today I'd be sitting on this couch with you 5 years ago, I'd say that's crazy. There's no way. But during the summer of 2020 and everything that was going on with COVID, it just really, it shook me to the core. I'm sorry, I keep hitting the microphone. It shook me to the core and made me realize that our government is not being honest with us. There's just a lot of misinformation and propaganda. And I have a stepdad now, and he's amazing. He's like a regional director with the Convention of States. And I may not have the title right, so forgive me, Dad. But, and he tried to recruit me to being involved. And I was like, I'm just not into politics. But anyway.
What does he think about what you're doing now?
Oh, he's so proud of me. Yes, he's so proud of me. But that's how I got involved. And that's where I went to the Guilford County Republican Party. And I showed up. My husband and I came in and we're like, we want to get involved. I was registered independent at the time. And so they're like, well, first we need to change your registrations. I was like, okay, let's change it to Republican. And I started volunteering, and I volunteered on several campaigns. I've done the Lincoln Reagan dinner. I mean, just different committees. So I've been really involved.
Yeah, I'd say you have been. Is there one issue with Moms for Liberty that you're most passionate about?
Well, I think Moms for Liberty does a lot of great things. And I like that we're versatile in the terms that we fight for parental rights, but we also provide civic education. And that's what I get a lot of out of National Summit as well. And that's what I focus on our chapter, is making sure that parents are informed about state laws, federal laws, and the school board policies. And then also to understand how to get involved with, how to reach out to the legislators, or maybe just how to write an email to your school board representative, or how to build a relationship with those people. So I focus on just kind of that overall education of engaging, educating, and empowering parents in our county.
So how do you go from, I saw some pictures of you when they were putting together the video with Secretary McMahon.
Yes.
Sitting at a table with her having discussions. You weren't just, let me grab a picture with you, Secretary. It looked like you were having intelligent conversations about education with her. So how do you go from daughter of immigrant from a communist country to sitting at the table with the U.S. Secretary of Education? And how was that meeting? What were you there for? What's going on with that?
Absolutely. Well, one, God, okay? I would not be where I'm at today if I wasn't obedient to the mission that the Lord has put me on. But I've had an opportunity to be in the room with Secretary McMahon twice. One is Moms for Liberty Guilford co-hosted a leadership luncheon with AFPI. So before she became the secretary, she reached out to our chapter, or she reached out through Moms for Liberty, and our chapter was the lucky one to be able to co-host a luncheon. So we had a fireside chat, and that was fantastic. The second time was at our legislative office, our North Carolina legislative office. Senator Berger and his team invited me to come to a roundtable discussion with Secretary McMahon, and the room was full of senators, and that was also fantastic because we got to just talk about what's going on in North Carolina and what's working and what's not, and how we can improve on school choice.
School choice. So you've got something coming up, I think, in the very near future about school choice. Tell us what you're doing with that.
Yes. So again, I feel like this is a Holy Spirit mission that said we need to have an opportunity for parents in Guilford County to learn more about the educational options in our county. So we're going to have a very large or fun education expo. We're calling it the School Choice Education Expo. And we're inviting private schools, charter schools, homeschool resources to come to this, to be part of it. So we're going to have vendors, speakers, and it'd be open up to all parents in Guilford County to come and learn about different education options. So we're excited about that.
When are you doing?
That's going to be in January, and we've partnered up with National School Choice Week.
Okay.
So
is that what you're doing it during School Choice Week?
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, other chapter leaders that are listening that might be passionate about school choice, maybe that's something you want to do. I know here in my county, in addition to private schools and charter school, public charter schools and homeschool options and hybrid schools and hybrid Christian schools, we've got so many options here. We have a lot of choices within our public schools. I think, was it Erica Donalds last week? It was either on the podcast last week or at the luncheon I was with right before that, where she was speaking about how many students in Miami-Dade are choosing a school choice option.
Mm-hmm.
And it was upwards of 80%. And that meant within even the public school system. And so public schools also often can offer choices. Do you find that in your county that's happening? With special, CTE programs or vocational type programs, things of that nature?
Yes. So my children, one has already graduated. He's at a university now, and he went to our public school in Guilford County, K through 12. And he had a lot of opportunities there. And then my youngest, we did pull him out for a little while to a charter school, but now he's back at the traditional public school, mostly because of the athletics program. But our school system in our county does offer school choice within the school system there. And then we also have, I don't know, I think it's a statewide thing, but we have a dual enrollment. And you can be dual enrolled in a traditional public school and the local community college, or it could be your public charter school and the community college, or it could be homeschool and the community college. So there's really a lot of options for parents to choose from. And that's why I think it's important to have this school choice fair, our education expo, in January, so that parents can understand and to learn what all of their options are, and be able to make informed decisions about the direction that they want to take.
Are you inviting the public school system to set up a table and talk about thetheir options too? Or
well, absolutely. If they want to be a part of it, sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that'd be fantastic. I love that you are at work that's working to educate parents, and Moms for Liberty's mission is to unify, educate, and empower. And you don't know what options you even have if you don't know what's out there. And so I think it's wonderful. I encourage leaders all across the country, whether you're in a Moms for Liberty chapter or not, to consider hosting or attending an event like this. Do you know what week School Choice Week is?
It is the last week of January, and our event is January 31st. which is a Saturday.
It's exciting.
Yes,
So you
it
heard it
is.
first here. If you're in Guilford County, North Carolina, there's going to be a school choice fair hosted by the local chapter of Moms for Liberty on January 31st.
Yes.
So how about pushback in your community with the work you've been doing? What is that like for you?
Well, we obviously have it just like everybody else. But again, I think it's important to drown out the noise and not listen to that and just keep moving forward with informing the community and building relationships. And speaking of building relationships, I recently reconnected with a friend of mine that we were really good friends, and we also did business together. I own an interior design business. And so we reconnected.
Pause for 1 second, because
sure.
I just want to plug in that when you came into our little corner studio here, you commented on how lovely it is. And so I want to give a shout out to our staff, Amy and Lisa, who I've said on the podcast before, but they, when I said I wanted a studio, we're always on a mom budget. They went to Home Goods and decorated this whole place. And so thank you for the compliment from an official interior designer.
Yes,
Sorry
absolutely.
to interrupt your.
No, that's quite all right. I own a little boutique firm in my town of Summerfield, but so that's my day job. And I often say that Moms for Liberty and all the other things I do are, it's my volunteer work, because we don't get paid for any of this. So, but my volunteer work gets in the way of my day job.
I think a lot of Moms for Liberty leaders would say that is the case.
Right, exactly. So you have to remind me the question you asked, because I got off.
Because I did it, because I stopped you to talk about your interior design. We were talking about the pushback,
Lynn.
And you were going to talk about your friend.
Yes, my friend Lynn. So we reconnected. Working at the polls together. You stand outside and you're handing out marketing literature. And I went up to her and I was like, Lynn, it's so good to see you. How are you? And we started talking. And
hold on, were you handing out literature for the same candidate?
No. We were on opposite sides. So
Okay.
she's considered the blue team and I'm considered the red team. And so it's like, it's so good to see you. And I don't know how we got on the subject about Moms for Liberty, but I said, I'm the chapter chair of Moms for Liberty. And she says, yeah, I know. Y'all are the book banners. And I was like, no, we're not. We need to get together and talk about this, because that's not what we're about. And so we went and had lunch, and we reconnected. We had a great conversation. And then she invited me to be part of the group of Braver Angels in our area. And as you know, we had the Braver Angels debate on stage at National Summit, which I thought was fantastic, by the way. Missy is amazing with coordinating all of that. That was fantastic.
We haven't posted that yet out on our YouTube and socials. I think we're still waiting for it to be clipped, but folks at home, be on the lookout for it. I didn't get to catch it at Summit, as most of the sessions I missed. And so I've been catching up on Summit and really enjoying it. It was great. Tell people that are listening what Braver Angels is, because they may not know.
Okay, so I probably will butcher what it really is.
Yeah, because you're not with the org, but in general.
My take on it is that it's an organization to get people on both sides and in the middle to get together to talk and to have civil discourse. And I think that's what's so important and what's missing in America today. So my friend Lynn, who is considered the blue team and I'm on the red team, and she calls me a reasonable conservative. So I thought that was really funny. But she invited me to the group, and we meet once a month by Zoom, and we have a topic. The chairs, there's a co-chair, a red team and a blue team co-chair. And they choose the topic, and we have a debate, and everybody gets an opportunity to speak their mind. And it's, you're on a timer and everything. So it really gives you an opportunity to have those open conversations and to listen to other people. And you're not there to necessarily convince somebody of your side, but really to have that important discussion. So because of that, my friend Lynn and I are now considering, it's not a done deal, but we're considering co-chairing this group that we have in our area of the Braver Angels group.
I think that is key to that's a gold star on the forehead, building relationships example. And Missy over our M4L Academy, who's working closely with Braver Angels now to put on a monthly, she's calling them Rhetoric for the Republic, and basically debates on all of these issues that we're facing in education and with parental rights in America right now. And so every month those will be put out on all of our socials, and I hope people will catch them. And it sounds like you're going to be doing the same exact thing in your county. And so hopefully we'll continue to strengthen our relationship with Braver Angels. I think that they are a good partner in moving forward civil civic discourse.
Yes.
And we are lacking that sorely in
Yes.
America right now. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
So you and I talked recently too, a little bit more about building relationships. And the reason I keep focusing back in for those that are listening on building relationships is Moms for Liberty has 3 values that we were founded with, really. And that is to stand for truth, to build relationships, and to empower others. And so building relationships, when I talked to you, was the common thing that kept coming through with all the work that you're doing. Because I said, like, oh, do you have any catchy videos of you at a school board meeting, where you're really mad? And I think you laughed and you said, no, that's not how I do things. And so tell me, Maria, how do you do things?
How do I do things? Well, I have conversations and I reach out. We have several board members on our school board that are very receptive to our organization, and we have some that are not receptive at all. But our superintendent has been fantastic with opening the door and allowing, and having meetings with us and keeping the door open. She said that the first meeting I had with her, she said, this is not a one-off. And so I really appreciated the fact that our school board, our superintendent in Guilford County Schools was willing to, to just have those conversations and talk about some of the issues. Now, unfortunately, what we brought to the table hasn't been resolved yet, but we're continuing to work on that. So when I go to speak at school board meetings, it's maybe to bring awareness about something, but it's not to necessarily argue or complain. And that's just my style. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with how other people handle things, and maybe the way that other people handle things is what's needed in their area. But
like Alex Stein, primetime number 99, how he shows up in costumes and all the things. Like,
he's quite the character.
Not necessarily the Maria Adams way, I would say.
No, that would not be how I would handle things. But I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that is different for me. One of our school board representatives, he's a Democrat. He's actually my school board representative where I live. And I told him, I said, if you win this election, we're going to become friends. And I meant that in terms of, I'm going to be sure to build a relationship with you and to meet with you and to talk to you about what I'm seeing and what parents are saying from, on our side. And he's been very receptive. Again, I've met up with him a couple of times over coffee, and I've brought up the issues of the books that are just really disgustingly inappropriate. And so the school board representative said, well, send me a list and we'll talk about it. So I'm in the process of doing that right now.
I would say, what more can you ask for? But really, from someone who's of a different political ideology and persuasion, if they're just willing to sit down and talk, that's the biggest mountain, I think, the biggest hurdle that you need to get over. And so that's where all good things happen. And I do want to just take a moment to give a word of advice to superintendents all across the country, and maybe take a piece from the playbook from your superintendent and have that open door policy to those you disagree with. Superintendents play a key role in bringing communities together. And I saw that here in Brevard County, Florida, with the 2 superintendents that I served with, or I guess worked for me when I was on the school board. Both of them had an open door policy. The first one was actually a Democrat, and I would say a pretty liberal Democrat when I first got elected to the school board, but he would talk to anyone. And not only that, he came to me knowing I was part of the Republican Liberty Caucus, which is like the most conservative in my county. And he said, I want to come and speak at the, and I was like, oh, that is not your crowd. I don't, I'm all about, civil discourse, but that's a little much even for you. And he said, no, get me an invitation and I'll come see. And he most certainly did. And they were not easy on him. They drilled him about taxes and all the things that you would assume the Republican Liberty Caucus would do, a bunch of older gentlemen who know what they're talking about. But he did it, and he thought it was important to do it. And there was a level of respect there for him showing up and being willing to take and answer the hard questions. And so I cannot say that enough about superintendents. If you shut down half of a segment of your community of parents, it's good for no one. It's definitely not good for children, because we know that parents are the biggest indicator of success, having them involved in their children's education. So you've just brought forward in this discussion and conversation so many good tips and points of how
Can I share a story? Do we have time for it?
Yeah, of course we do.
A situation where that happened in Guilford County Schools, and I took it to the superintendent and to the board, and it got resolved. And it's one great example of how we do hold our leaders accountable. We have a Parents' Bill of Rights that was ratified in 2023. And in that Parents' Bill of Rights, there's a segment in there that says that schools cannot teach or cannot include in their curriculum anything about sexual identity, gender identity, sexuality. It's very explicit how it describes what you can and cannot do. And this is for K-4. So at one of our elementary schools, it was discovered that teachers had put together a curriculum that included lesson plans from an organization called Welcoming Schools. And if you're familiar with that, you know that they they're activists in the LGBTQ arena, and they put together lessons and teacher things about that. So anyway, because they were bringing that into the K-4 classroom, and it was against the law, we brought it to the superintendent and we informed her that this was going on at this school and that it needed to come out. And after they investigated, they realized that that did absolutely violate the law. So they removed that curriculum from the K-4 classroom. And that was one way that we worked on that.
It's wonderful. Again, building successful relationships to impact change.
Yes.
And so you don't have to go burn everything down. You don't have to light people up with your words or your actions. Sometimes, I would say, sometimes it might be necessary, but it shouldn't be the starting place. And you're such a good example of that.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about what being a joyful warrior is to you. I mean, that's what we call ourselves at Moms for Liberty, joyful warriors. You seem to emulate that, but what does it really mean to you to be a joyful warrior?
Well, I would say that my faith is what really brings me joy. And I'm sorry, it's very personal there. But I had mentioned to you that you remind me of my pastor's wife sometimes. And she said something to me when my kids were young, and she said, be careful what your children read or see or exposed to when they're young. And I've used that as a way to protect my children and to ground them in their faith and in the faith that we have. And so my faith is what brings me joy, because peace is brought in the Lord, and that's what's really important to me.
And you can probably link that right back to your mother, who you
Yes.
say was such a faithful woman, instilled that into you.
Mm-hmm.
Is she proud of the work you're doing today?
She most certainly is. She passed away a couple of years ago, but she's
gosh.
always been very proud of everything that I've ever done. And she's, my biggest fan and very supportive. And I've taken what I've learned from my mom and instilled that into my children. So it's been a blessing.
Yeah. I think you have an amazing story, Maria. We are grateful for you here at Moms for Liberty for your 3 years. Has it been 3 years?
Almost 3 years, yes.
Yeah. Moms for Liberty turns 5 in just 2 more months. So you've been with us longer than over the halfway mark from when we existed, and we hope you'll be with us for a long time to come. We're grateful for your example that you set to other chapter chairs, and in your own chapter, the work that you guys are doing. And so I'm going to close out the Fire of Liberty show now with our guest, Maria Adams from Guilford County, North Carolina. She has served as the North Carolina ambassador last year during some of the heavy lifting of growth and the 2024 elections in North Carolina, which is a swing state. And she has served as the chapter chair for 3 years. She's building strong relationships, successful relationships in North Carolina, and I'd say across the country, with folks like U.S. Secretary McMahon. And so we are grateful to have her on the Fire of Liberty show today. I'm Tina Deskovich, CEO and co-founder of Moms for Liberty. We hope you'll catch us next week and every week at 10 a.m. live on all of our social channels. And then you could follow us, sign up on Apple and Spotify. Make sure you like and follow the show, and you give it 5 stars and give us a rating too. Until next week.